everybody. Warm welcome to the second part of the startup competition. For those who were not here during the first part, I'm very, very shortly explain you the rules, and we'll ask you not to talk during the pitches because it's exactly, that's too loud. So we have 7 startups pitching today. They have about 3 plus minus minutes to present themselves. We have an amazing jury. I will, yeah, please join. Ask to join us already now. It's Eva from AWS. It's Kevin from... No, I'm kidding. I just messed up his name last time. And also Dominic from Acton Capital. So the idea is that the jury is asking the tough questions, and the jury is going to be a part of the decision process, but also you all are a part of the decision process. So if you use the, you're all a member of 1 in 9 community now. If you go to the session of now and you scroll down, you will find the voting. So you find all the names of the startups and you can actually vote for your favorite. And you are going to be the 4th jury. So please vote. Be active and support our startups with warm applause. And okay. Please welcome on stage Inclusify.
Thank you. Yeah, so we are Inclusify, and our vision is to create a world where nobody is excluded. Why is this important? Because, for every one of us, by the way, because just 4% of all registered disabilities are from birth. So when we talk about inclusion, what does that mean actually? When you're talking about the word exclusion, that means that you have 2 groups of people, and yeah, there is a system or a closed group of people and you cannot access. So you exclude people. When we talk about integration, then we have 2 groups of people. They just exist next to each other. So there are borders and maybe there's no connection between those 2 groups. And when we talk about inclusion, then we try to break the borders so that we want that everyone can connect to each other and is part of the whole system. And this is our goal. And why is this possible now? Because we have new technologies, and another important reason is because we have a demographic change. Because in 2030, there will be 40 million people who will be 40 years old and older in Germany. So this is also a very important economic point of view, to say, hey, there's a big target group where we can build solutions for. So inclusion is not about exclusive offers, it is about creating solutions for accessibility. And we believe in a world where digital technology is the key to an inclusive society in which all people have equal access. So what are we doing? Our last project is called Blind Spotter, and this is a guiding system that enables blind people to walk through the same exhibition as everyone else by themselves. So this is a project we made together with St. Pauli, the museum in Hamburg. And it was the first time that blind people could really walk by themselves, that they don't need any guidance and also have their own experience. But it was the same exhibition, so it's not like today we have very often the situation that the museum makes 2 exhibitions, one for normal people and the other one for blind people or deaf people. So we try to integrate or to include actually all the people. And here you can see a small video how that works. So you see that this man you see here is a blind one, and he wears the HoloLens, and the HoloLens gives via a 3D sound a guidance through the room, and he also has some audio, he gets via audio, he gets some information about the room and about the exhibition. So on one hand, it's a navigation system because he don't need any he doesn't need any help to go to the exhibition, and also he gets a story about what it's the exhibition about, and there's a man who tells him what he can see, if he could see the room, and so. And this is how we come to this to projects like that. We have a process And what I already talked about was how we build it and how we install it in the museum. And before we do that, we have like a co-creation together with clients, where we try to invent those projects. Yeah, that's all.
Dear jury, your turn. Please use the 2 minutes. We have actually one startup more than we planned, so we have to be a little bit on time.
I'm going to be quick with a quick question. Is your idea to run a product company, so really to scale it into some vertical and really try to build your value proposition there, or is your intent to run projects by projects, whoever needs your platform?
Well, actually both. At the moment, we try to focus on the consulting part. So this is what I showed in the last slide with this 4 steps, like face it, build it, and so on. So this is actually what we wanted to do. We want to consult the companies, and then when we find ideas, we are also able to build it. So it's like a full service, if you want to say so.
So it's a full service for a museum. They work with you as a consultant to then develop a system for allowing blind people to interact with their exhibits. Is that the first use case?
Yeah, no, it's not. We also have another one. So it's not only museums. It could be also, I don't know, another company. Yeah. What we also have is a smart, like a voice assistant adapter, because today, you know, we have a lot of voice assistants, but when you have like problems with speaking, even though if you are not handicapped, but you come from the dentist and then you cannot speak anymore, then the voice assistant maybe cannot understand you. So we invented an adapter so the system can still understand you.
I guess I'm familiar with something like Be My Eyes, where it's crowdsourced support for people who are blind. Yeah. And then also, I know a lot of the running apps are trying to develop more of a haptic feedback for blind runners to be able to navigate a course. I'm just curious why you chose this as kind of the form factor for providing feedback versus a crowdsourced. Just maybe you could explain a little bit more about the technology.
So I don't know if I get your question right. You mean why we take the sound as a...
Yeah, how you chose that, and whether it's automated, whether it's crowdsourced versus beeping systems.
So I cannot tell you a lot about the technology part because I'm not the programmer behind this system. But the thing was to do it with the audio was because audio is for blind people a very important sense. So everything in their world runs through sound. And that was the decision to make it with sound, because with the HoloLens you have this 3D sound. So you can, in a virtual world, you can have the same sound as in a real world. And that's what we use to guide the blind people through the room. So they can hear, oh, okay, there is an exhibition, or there's something which might be interesting for me, so I go there. And then on the other corner, they hear the sound there, so yeah.
Thank you very much. Big applause. So, thank you again for being here, all 3 of you. I know you have busy days. For the new audience and the new startup batch, I would like to ask you the same question I asked before already. Can you just very quickly sum up what is important for you today during the speech competition? Can we start?
I'll probably give the same answer. As always, the team behind. And I think especially if you're looking at novel technologies, it's much harder to kind of go through the first 3-4 years when you're just developing technology together and develop this resilience. So I'm looking for this resilience in the team, especially when it comes to very innovative topics.
And could you just quickly introduce yourself as well?
Sure. My name is Eva, and I'm from Amazon Web Services, responsible for startups and venture capital business in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. And prior to that, I spent around 10 years in different funds, corporate and financial, in Europe and in the US.
Okay, we will ask you to during the next round. So now please welcome Kumovis founder.
Hi. So, one moment often can change your life, and not in a good way. So, you can have a severe head injury during a car accident, or you can get diagnosed with cancer, for instance, a severe bone cancer. Or you suffer from chronic diseases like a slipped disc in your back that keeps you awake the whole night. So, all these cases, they happen quite regularly all over the world, every day, thousands of times, but still the healthcare system is not sufficient. We always still use standardized products for individual needs for all the patients. We still produce centralized and in long supply chains, and we still manufacture in manual processes and often in an expensive way when it comes to individualization. So we at Kumovis, we thought about how to solve this, and we came up with additive manufacturing. And we developed the first 3D printer for medical applications. So we built a compact 3D printing system for individual series production. It's completely suitable for medical products, and the complete process will be monitored to later qualify the product and have a quality assurance. But it's not just a product. We want to go more decentralized. We want to go on-site. We want to shift the whole to the point of care, directly into the hospitals, directly into the dental laboratories, to have an on-demand production of patient-specific products in a cost-efficient way and bring it in short time to the patient. It's not only a hardware system, it's also software behind it. So our vision is to digitalize the complete workflow for medical products. We start from a CT scan, which is like standard today. Over algorithms, you can do segmentation. It's also present today. And we start from the automated product design. We can produce this decentralized on-site in the hospital, and we can use the product where it's produced actually. So with this workflow, we can guarantee time from the CT to the patient within 24 hours. That helps us to build cranial implants for head injuries, for instance, if you had a car accident or a tumor. We can't heal cancer, but at least we can help to make the surgeries more efficient and more accurate. And we also can provide new spinal implants that have a better bone growth and help the patient to have a better movement later on when he had a surgery. It's not just me, we're a team of 16 people at the moment, and we have the vision to innovate 3D printing technologies to shape the future of medical production right at the point of care. Thanks.
Could you quickly say a few words what differentiates your 3D printer from others?
Well, so there are actually three topics. One is we produce mostly medical and high-performance polymers. We have a complex temperature system process we developed in there. It's also patented that we can guarantee a high quality for single part production in an industrial way. The second is that the complete machine is tailored to medical production, so we can do it decentralized on-site in the hospital. You only need like electricity and air pressure, that's it. So it's easy handling, and all the materials inside are stainless steel. We talk to a lot of medical device manufacturers is needed to produce on a machine. And the third is all the sensors inside to have a quality assurance later on that we can guarantee this is a good product that you can use for medical purposes, because this is always a critical topic.
And do you have a lot of competition in that space?
Well, the biggest competition at the moment is, I would say, conventional manufacturing, as this is the way how it is produced. There are several 3D printing companies, but they're like, for instance, EOS, you may know, as it is a big Munich company, but they do a different technology, laser sintering, which is complex and more expensive. So the machine is like 1.5 million. You can't put it there. It's decentralized. We are at a tenth of this price. So there's a big cost factor. And the other startups, it's also proven by the customers we already have. We ship the first product now, and by the end of this month, to a big medical device manufacturer who is a market leader in craniomaxillofacial implants, and they also stated that our technology is the only one that can do it.
One last question. It's okay if you don't have questions.
We do, for sure. How far are you in the approval process since this goes into the body? So I guess it's pretty restrictive when it comes to medical device regulatory process.
Well, you don't need to certify the machine, but the implant itself, you're totally right. So we have first case for dental implants. We will go into the body by September, October. And for the cranial implant, we do it together with a big partner who bought the first series machine. We aim to have it in the body by the end of 2020.
Great, thank you very much. Big applause.
Welcome. Don't forget to vote.
Don't forget to vote, guys, right? You have all the power to push your favorite to be the winner. And we are looking for the startup which is going to save the world. So, back to you guys. Kevin, do you want to proceed with a short introduction and also with your kind of criteria for the pitch today for the startups?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name's Kevin Adler. I'm a social entrepreneur coming in from San Francisco. It's good to be back in Munich. Came here a couple years ago. I run a nonprofit in San Francisco called Miracle Messages. We help people experiencing homelessness reconnect to their loved ones. We've reunited about 230 families. I'll be giving a keynote talk at 6 p.m. in the area out there. And I think in terms of criteria, I hear a lot of these ideas in different forms in Silicon Valley. And so really understanding not only what differentiates you, but an awareness of the competition is actually a positive, because all these great ideas have been attempted in some form before. So just hearing a little bit more about not only what else is out there, but what makes you unique.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Please welcome the founder of qbound.
Thank you.
And just 1 second before you start. Guys, if you're here and you want to listen to the pitches, please be quiet, because I can hear you talking somewhere all the time, and let's be polite to our speakers.
Just try to be pretty rude and loud. It's all right. All right, thank you. As a former researcher, I have to start with a couple of figures, and it's like 39 seconds, 38%, and 3.5 million jobs, and a pretty big number, which is like, I think 6E12 or something, so it's even bigger than the conference here. And I'm talking about cybersecurity, about cybercrime, because cybercrime is happening every 39 seconds. Only 38% of us, companies and private persons, are prepared for that. And we're missing out of 3.5 million jobs in that area. And that costs us a total of $6 trillion every year. And just to give you a bit of a feeling, that's twice as much as our GDP in Germany, so it's quite a big problem, I would say. And I'm from qbound, I'm Andre, and we're solving that problem. So we're helping humanity to no longer care about cybersecurity and cybercrime. Just to give you a feeling that humans most likely, or every one of us, is focusing on security every day. So that's a pretty recent example, our world-famous airport in Berlin, which is still not open. And for what reason? Security reasons. It's the fire protection that is not working, and we taken into account a couple of years, and billions and trillions of money has been flowing into that project. And so it seems like we all care about privacy and security and all these things, but if it comes to the digital world, let's have a look there. We put everything on the internet, like critical infrastructure, devices, even like big companies are struggling there. They have been, Maersk has to reinstall like over 30,000 of PCs and computers and servers, so and that costs a lot of money, and this money could be invested way better. But it's not only in the industry, it's also in our everyday life, smartphones, smart homes, Google, whatever, smart devices like cars. Everything is connected, and do we really care about cybersecurity in that end? I'm not sure. For me, it more looks like we're like facing pretty new technology, like AI-driven attacks and things like that, and we're still using technology from the 80s and the 90s, like VPNs, pretty old firewalls, and that is no longer applicable and no longer like future-proof and working. And that's where we step in. And just to give you an idea what we're doing and what's the main problem, I'm going to guide you through a little story. So you all can imagine an old town back in the days. They were protected by big walls, and all the town's houses in between were like sorted behind this wall. And that's pretty much like a firewall works in a lot of companies right now. So if you overcome one of these guards here, you're pretty much in the system, and you can like jump from one system to another. And that's probably not how it should be. What we really need is, we need to protect every single application. Like every house needs to be protected by an alarm. And that's what we do from qbound. We connect all these houses, all these guards in front of the houses. We separately secure them behind individual firewalls. And we try to kind of protect even their surface from the attack surface, so they're not shown to the internet, because we have developed a gateway that kind of hides all these applications that normally are phased outside into the world. And that's what we're doing for the IT world, basically. And what is needed to do that? It's decentralized access management. We need data filtering on really a data set level. So we need to decide if the data that is going in and out should be going in and out. And we need to log all these attempts and all these activities that are going on. So in order we can do intrusion detection and to figure out who's behaving in a malicious way and who's behaving correctly. And through that, we have developed a platform that allows us to connect basically every device to every other device. So we're basically the foundation for a secure IoT in the future. And our platform is scalable, secure, and future-proof. We have a first working POC prototype, and we have been working on the wind turbines to secure them. And with that technology, we have won one of the hackathons in Berlin and get elected for a winner from Fraunhofer and VDMA. And we're a team of 3 co-founders, and we have pretty experienced mentors and advisors. And based on that, we have been rallying the last couple of months and weeks pretty fast-paced. And we're currently looking for additional pilot projects, and that would help us to make the world a safer place. And so vote for us, join us on that journey. Thank you.
So when you say you have a prototype ready, how long are you away from trying it out with first real customers in their real environments?
So yeah, we have been investing in research over the like we've been doing PhDs in these areas, and we've been working on that like behind closed doors for a little while. We just switched onto full-time involvement like 2 months ago, and we're hoping to start into real world implementations and pilot projects in October this year. So that will be the time frame we're focusing on right now.
Maybe you could just talk a little bit more about kind of a path to market and distribution strategy.
Yeah, and that's actually a quite tough one, because there are some small companies like Cisco and Checkpoint Security and all these, they're making it a little tricky for us. But yeah, we try to focus on the German Mittelstand right now. So one of our use cases, the first use cases, is like remote access to machines behind the firewalls of OEMs and things like that. And that is pretty much a way for us to really hands-on implement the product and scale from that on. So that's the first attempt, focusing on remote access of machines, although we know like the big thing is going to be IoT and the connected devices, but we try to have a solid path into the market through that strategy. Are we on time?
We're on time. No questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Big applause. Great. As long as we're waiting for the next startup, Dominic, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Dominic. I work with a venture capital fund based here in Munich. We invest in consumer and B2B internet startups, mostly more the soft digital stuff, not too much the tech stuff. So I'm very excited to see these companies here, and I'm most interested in taking a user's perspective, because that's my way of kind of thinking of a company when I'm a user or a customer, and I really test out the product and see where I could use it. And that's more difficult sometimes in tech companies than in consumer internet companies, but still every company has a customer somewhere, so that's my main point of interest.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Please welcome on stage OroraTech.
Thank you. Hi everyone, and thank you for having us this afternoon. So my name is Sonya, and I'm part of the management team at OroraTech. And in the following, I want to show you how we at OroraTech are trying to empower humanity through our technology. So OroraTech is a spin-off from the Technical University in Munich and has been founded 9 months ago. At the moment, we are 21 people tackling one important problem, and that's wildfires. Wildfires are still a huge worldwide challenge, as the wildfire detection process is still way too slow. There are still areas, such as forests in Russia or Canada, where it can take up to several hours, up to an entire day, until a wildfire gets noticed. We at OroraTech try to change that. These wildfires still have a lot of impact on us. They cause economic damages, devastate areas, but also endanger lives. Currently, there is a wildfire in Alaska spreading. This wildfire, by the end of the pitch, will have burned down 210 more additional acres. This is pretty much the size of 150 football fields. And this wildfire specifically could have stayed way smaller and didn't have to go out of control if we had a faster alert service over here. At OroraTech, we think we have found the perfect solution. So what we are working on is a wildfire detection service based on infrared imaging. How are we going to do that? So we have developed a patented nanosatellite, pretty much the size of a shoebox. You can see a real-size mock-up over here. And we equip it with patent-pending infrared sensors that we put into the nanosatellite. Our goal is to not only bring one of those nanosatellites into space, but 100 of them, and build an entire constellation of nanosatellites around the globe. This constellation of nanosatellites enables us to track every point on Earth every 30 minutes with a very high resolution. So how does this process look like? If there is a wildfire, our nanosatellite flies over it and collects the infrared data. The infrared data is processed on orbit, and then we use satellite internet to send the information down to Earth and send out the push alerts to our end users. Who are our end users? Mostly firefighting units and emergency control centers. We are sure that our infrared data set that we are creating worldwide can also have a big benefit on other potential use cases, such as severe weather monitoring, but also evapotranspiration observation and urban heat mapping. At the moment, we have one working satellite up into space, and we are looking for a post-seed investor to bring the next generation of prototypes up into space and finally complete our entire constellation by 2024. Today, I'm looking for other entrepreneurs, but also enthusiasts in the field of space and forestry to talk to, also investors that are interested in our technology. And yeah, thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.
Who do you sell to, and who's making that decision? You're the head of business development.
So I'm not doing or making this decision on my own. I'm working closely with all 4 co-founders by deciding who is going to be our customers. At the moment, we have 3 different types of customers. So in the first place, we are talking to insurance companies who are developing other reinsurance policies with us. We are also talking to direct customers, such as the Deutsche Bahn, who still have a huge problem with wildfires next to their railway stations. And we are for sure talking to institutional customers. We already had contact with CalFryer from California, but also the German GIZ, German Corporation for International Cooperation. So these are our three customer segments. Does this answer your question? I'm sorry.
My question was similar. What's the reaction from these customers? Are they saying, like, we really need that, and as soon as the second satellite is there, we're ready to scale with you? Mm. And what would be the alternative? Without infrared, they wouldn't have the data? at all?
They have data. We have infrared satellite data from geostationary satellites, but they do not have it in real time or near real time. With our service, they have it way faster. When we talked to CAL FIRE, who is going to be one of our pilot customers, they said they really depend on every minute that they can send the firefighters earlier. But our real first movers in this case are really the reinsurance companies because they're losing so much money. For example, we are talking to Munich Re that have already lost, I think it was near 10 billions last year due to wildfires. So they're really interested in developing new policies with us and selling our service to their customers.
Yeah, so I mean, this is an issue very close to my heart, being in California. The house I used to live in burned down in the Santa Rosa fires just a few years ago. So it's a very important space you're working in. The examples that you cited were, I think, Russia and Alaska. I imagine those fires were in more remote areas with less, human habitation. Yeah. I'm curious why this decision to try to do a global, expansive overview, which leads to a kind of a 30-minute, timer, versus focusing on one area that has a high population center but very low response rate, and then maybe trying to get it down to every couple minutes, checking to see if there's any wildfire. Could you just explain a little bit more of your process for making that decision?
Yeah, we are actually going to focus on pilot customers such as the area around California because that's where the money lies. Actually, the most wildfires are in Russia and in Africa, but there's no money. So this would be pretty much pro bono for us, like detecting and alerting in the areas over there. So we will start with the areas where the money is to test and further develop our
and just
service.
Real quick, like how quick of a response time do you think you can get down to?
15 minutes.
15 minutes, but getting down to like 15 seconds or...
It is possible if we
minutes.
have even more satellites within the constellation. So at the moment we are planning with 100 satellites because especially the firefighters in Greece told us that like 15 to 30 minutes is their aim, their personal goal to reach within the detection process. But for sure, it is possible to be even quicker, but that means a lot more money and a lot more satellites. Thank you.
Many thanks. So I'm coming with questions again. But before I ask you a question, I actually want to point out, we really wanted to be very inclusive, and I saw babies and kids running around. Now I just discovered a puppy. So it's really cool that you feel comfortable here and you bring your friends and you share it with us. That's really cool.
Can we make the puppy a fourth judge?
Yes. So the puppy is here if you want to see it. It's very cute. It's a 1 in 9 puppy. That's how Grumpy Cat got famous. Maybe that's, the new Grumpy. Looks too nice though. Okay, guys, today... Oh, and then... I actually have to move forward. I will ask you the question for later. Please welcome the founder of RYTLE. Big applause.
To be honest, I'm not the founder, I'm the global product owner, but still, working for RYTLE. So what we do is actually, it's pretty bad. So what we have right now is inner city traffic, which is literally at its limit, so nobody's actually able to move, as well as we're all heavily jeopardized by CO2 emissions, and we all know that this is a huge issue. Even like recently, our almost famous Donald Trump recognizes that climate change is not fake, but it's actually real. This is also partly due to just inefficient last mile logistics, and this is where we're tackling. So having a look at the numbers, we have right now 1.5 billion parcel deliveries at the moment on the last mile, meaning Amazon, which we have here right now, and Zalando just delivering on the last mile different packages. We have, if you have a look at it, like 30% of the inner city traffic being just deliverables and logistic companies. And next time you stand in the traffic, it's 80% due to these people because they block the streets, they just don't move forward, and it's like very inefficient. And you have 50%, which is our point of attack, of subcontractors from DHL, GLS, and UPS, who is actually responsible for all these traffic jams. So what is RYTLE doing right now? We are the global leading platform for last mile logistics, and we want to do this in an emission-less, at least less emission-less way, and we have like a more efficient way in delivering the packages. Most of you gonna ask like, okay, that's a nice story, but actually how you want to achieve that? So we brought our RYTLE mover today, so you can have a look at it outside. And what we do is actually like the process is it starts at 4 a.m. in the morning, where a hub truck is going into the city, right here in Munich to Türkenstraße 7. It's delivering like the RYTLE hub. After the RYTLE hub is actually deployed, the RYTLE drivers, which you can see down on the bike, are coming at 8 a.m. in the morning, picking up one of the boxes which is in the hub, and then start their journey to actually deliver the packages to the clients, like without any emissions and also without like, having huge issues in the parking lots and like traffic. Obviously, we're not alone in the game. Obviously, there's also other people joining on this journey and being a last mile delivery. Being at Amazon, being like the digital native companies or even competitors, direct competitors to us. So what is key for us is actually enabling a marketplace where you have autonomous last mile deliveries. Meaning that inner cities can actually have like all the different ecosystem stakeholders who actually then deliver the parcels in town without actually having to deploy the logistic companies. RYTLE right now is in, like within 15 months, we are in more than 40 cities in the world, like on several continents. We have 2 teams deployed in India working on our technology platform, as well as like on the bike manufacturing. We're working with a lot of different stakeholders, like insurance companies and like also logistic companies. And to be very honest, the pitch was not for the investor committee here, but rather for you, because we have more than 50 people, like more than 50 guys working with us. And if you're interested in like working on last mile delivery, making it more efficient and making actually emission less, come talk to us. We are front in the stand. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I understand the emission-free aspect. I don't really understand the decrease in traffic, because you're still going to have the traffic. And if you look at UPS, it delivers on bikes, scooters as well by now.
Actually, these are our bikes mostly. So you have it right now here deployed in Munich, where you have the UPS RYTLE bikes, they're delivering it. So what we do is actually like with our bikes, we don't want to decrease the traffic. We just want to decrease the traffic on the streets. Like our RYTLE movers are very neat, very lean. You can have a look at it outside. So you have like inner city logistics, meaning if you go here in Munich to Marienplatz, you can actually go directly in front of the building instead of like needing to park the huge trucks UPS has right now, like the KIP Fahrzeuge, what they named in German. And with our RYTLE bikes, you're more flexible, more agile, and you're actually faster in delivering.
No questions?
The dog have any questions? No?
You have to show the dog afterwards. This is really cute. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome to the commercial break. So today it's all about the community, right? Because we started 1 in 9 and it's going to be launched today. It's an official day for us. And we really believe in the power of community. Guys, what do you think? What does it mean for you? Maybe we start with you, Kevin, and then move through all of you during the next breaks.
Sure. So, I mean, for me, I grew up with a small family that kind of has only gotten smaller over the years, And so I've just always looked at my extended network of neighbors, classmates, friends as like part of family. In San Francisco, I host these monthly fireside potlucks where we have 25, 30 people come together. There's a topic of the month like success, failure, whatever happens to be. And just creating a shared space to live life together is really what the heart of community is, ideally with food included. So.
Thank you very much. And welcome the founder of Contunity. Big applause, please.
Hi, everyone. Very nice to be here today. Thank you very much for that opportunity. My name is Alex. I'm co-founder and CTO of Contunity, and we automate the design of electronics. Now, why is that important? Well, for starters, we are surrounded by electronics. Literally, thousands of computers are in our daily lives, and we're not talking about our smartphones or our MacBooks. I'm talking about everyday products, from ambulance cars to your coffee machines. This is really driving our society, making our daily life work. Now, someone needs to design those systems. Someone needs to engineer them. And tell you what, the process itself is still quite manual. It requires a lot of skill and a lot of expertise to do even the smallest things. At the same time, it is getting harder and harder to find electronics engineers and people to do that because, well, there is this know-how barrier. You need to pass university, you need to have a lot of expertise to even do these small things. At the same time, just about everything is becoming smart today. Well, smart just means a lot of work, a lot of engineering needs to be done to make that happen. If it's smart cities, smart electricity, smart communication, they all rely on electronics. And the problem is, just about every company needs access to that know-how. If you look, for example, into the German automotive industry right now, the transformation to electric cars creates a lot of potential, but also a lot of problems. We have a lot of people who are very well trained in mechanics and mechanical engineering, but not really electronics and software. So we need to empower our employees to take part in this innovative process. Now, how can we do that? Well, that's where we come in. We provide kind of a digital assistant for electronics engineering. You can think of it as Google Assistant for electronics engineering. We provide a software, a cloud-based software suite that is automating the design, the engineering behind electronics. You tell our software what you need with a drag-and-drop user interface, and it automatically gives you a suggestion, how can you do the engineering, from hardware to software. You can press a button, get your first prototype in a matter of seconds. Now, typical customer use cases are a radically decreased time spent in engineering. You can kickstart your software development with early engineering, hardware engineering prototypes in the very beginning of a design process. You can standardize your entire engineering. You can do quicker, faster, and even more testing at the very beginning of your project. And last but not least, we empower, we enable electronics engineering. We provide access to everyone who is not an electronics expert to take part in that process. Now, to give you a quick summary of what I just said, we are the worldwide first fully automated platform for electronics engineering. With that, we shorten our customers' time to market significantly. We tear down know-how barriers and provide access to electronics engineering. And, well, it's a $1 billion market. Electronics engineering is huge. On top of that, I'm most proud of our great team. We are very diverse with over 10 different languages in our team. And I'm really thrilled to work with those people. So if you want to shape the future of electronics engineering, please contact us. We're happy to talk. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great. So I heard the use cases and then the 90% figure decrease, but I didn't hear what traction you kind of currently have in the market. Could you share a little bit more about where you are as a company, what partnerships you have, how it's being used today?
Sure. So we're currently in pilot phase. The full-blown launch will be next year. This means we already have customers using our software. We're in talks with, let's say, rather big companies from the German area mostly when it comes to, let's say, using our software on a larger scale within their engineering teams. This is on a scale up, let's say. And the feedback from the market is very, very good right now. And we have a lot of interest from different companies, mostly in the automotive and automation engineering sector. And yeah, so I think we're pretty good there.
I guess another question is, what problem have you solved to be able to decrease the time expended by 90%? What's something that has been overlooked before that you're able to use economies of scale to address?
Well, the thing is, software scales pretty good when it comes to doing repetitive tasks. And these are basically concepts that are pretty well known in the software development environment. So software engineers are automating big parts of their daily life. But in the hardware engineering, it's not so much the case. And we've introduced a lot of principles from those areas to the electronics hardware engineering, and that provides us the ability to leverage these huge speed-ups. People were just sitting down and literally drawing stuff on their computer as of now, and we're changing that. Our software is able to make decisions, and computers can work much faster, can do much more iterations than humans, because humans are much better when it comes to creativity and innovation, not so much repetitive tasks. And these principles help us to achieve that.
So talking about hardware production, you're going to work with kind of all...
Sorry.
Sorry. Are you going to work with kind of a different array of hardware producers in Shenzhen, in Europe as well? Or how are you going to build your network on the production side?
So we're not into the manufacturing at all. We're engineering, we're automating the engineering, and the manufacturing itself is pretty well advanced. There are a lot of providers out there. You basically upload your engineering files, press a button, and they produce the prototype for you in China, as well as also here in Europe, in the US. So we are partnering with some of those platforms, but the manufacturing itself, it depends heavily on the customer. They have their own supply chains. We're not into the manufacturing business. We're a software company automating the engineering, not the manufacturing.
Thank you very much. Before we move to the last startup, coming back to you guys and to the question about what does it mean to have a community, to be part of a community. Would you like to share that?
Sure. I think I'll expand a bit on Kevin's answer and expand it beyond a physical location. For me, community is quite often virtual and expanding beyond wherever I am. And it's probably associated by some common thought, mission, anything that area of interest that you feel passionate about. I would call that a community.
Dominic, what do you think?
Well, I think besides kind of sharing of experiences and knowledge between entrepreneurs, which is one very central element of a kind of the startup community, for me the number one thing is that the broader startup community itself should put much more focus on acquiring talent out of different industries and hiring people, because I mean startups hire from each other and they compete with each other, but in general they much more compete with kind of traditional industries, with people going into very different jobs. So the startup community as a whole in Germany, I think really, especially in Germany and Europe, needs to step up their efforts to make the industry as a whole more attractive for young people coming out of university. There has been some progress, but there's still a lot of progress ahead, which could be done, and also getting people out of their comfortable careers in big corporations and into the startup ecosystem. So for me, that's the number one challenge and task for the community to do.
Thank you. Well, we still wait. Yes, thank you very much. Please welcome Hansi from a very, very humble startup called Kingdom.one.
So, dear 1E9 community, I think the name of this conference should rather be 9E9 conference, because we have there around 9 billion people on the planet that we do not really care about anybody or really everybody. So 2 years ago I started with a mission to bring peace tech into the world. So how could you end wars with different technologies? How can you unite humanity for one goal, to change the business model of this planet and how we treat each other? And on this journey, I met one of the most inspiring people on this planet. One was Florian. He was explaining me that most wars depend on how our currency systems are built, how central banks and influential people are actually using our monetary system that most people do not understand to actually have global games on us, have wars on us, and actually still owning the power, and they're not really willing to change the world, but rather going out with warships to get more power and more influence in the world. And therefore, we developed NECO, a global digital currency for the common good, that it's actually for all welfare, that is coming on the planet, having one global currency that has a global basic income. And with this global basic income as food standard, we can kind of distribute food to all over the world and feed the whole world and bring it together on one currency system and a lot of blockchain tokens that actually run the future economy. Furthermore, I found Marcel Donges, the former CTO of Huawei Europe, who was developing something like the last web development platform and an operating system for the web, which is running in any browser. And with this software, you can basically build any app on the planet in 2 weeks, which so far takes half a year, a whole development team. We applied this at the hackathon at the TU Munich, and within 36 hours, we built all the software Sixt ever built in our platform, and now you can drag and drop all the scooter companies into one last mobility app, the Linux of mobility. We showed it to investors, and they said, "Oh my God, with this system, you can do anything on the planet." And we said, okay, then let's apply it to the best platform that was ever built on the planet, the Munich Oktoberfest, because there you actually need a mobile payment system that is not dependent on anybody that is charging you 3 or 5%. You need mobile payment without any check bill and all this printing stuff. So we apply now on one card, on the Wiesenpass, a blockchain currency on a credit card connected with a Fridentity. And the Fridentity is a blockchain identity system, decentralized, that actually anybody on the planet can now, via one app, first this year, the Wiesen app, apply or get this Fridentity, then pay his check with Neko, and actually get all the services that we will build with Voda. And Voda is mostly depending on you, because nowadays we build a prototype with Sixt, but actually we can use any software on the platform to bring it on Voda, to drag and drop, combine it, and to open source, release it to anybody on the planet. And the good thing, since we combined Neko and Voda, Neko is the future system how developers can get paid and all the people on the planet. Therefore, we have the radical approach that all the benefit that software is bringing to the world will get as basic income to every human on the planet to eat, drink, have water, and all the fun in life that we enjoy over here, but not all people on the planet. Thanks a lot. And who's interested can get buttons from me. It's standing on there, is Kertfi Merak Schmust, because in the end, it depends on love.
You guys.
It sounds cool, but I'm not really sure I understand. So what is Voda? Is it a distributed ledger, the registered payments? Can you elaborate a bit deeper on the solution?
Yeah, the best thing would be to go afterwards to this guy over here who developed it, and he has a video for it. I was not really able to show it in this time, but it's an operating system that's running in the browser, like Android or another system that's so far an operating system, but it's an Internet of Things operating system, and it can run on any platform. And you drag and you put your code into the platform, into the web platform, and then it runs on any device, and you can combine different things like combine mobility apps with banking apps and drag and drop them like web components into each other. But you have to be a hardcore developer to actually get really amazed by the technology and how much time you save there.
Yeah, so new banking systems can be very difficult to implement and adopt. There's kind of the empty network problem. And I know in the homeless space, there's tons of programs where people can give a coin or a token in exchange for food. The problem is always getting adoption awareness. It sounded like you had a really great use case with Oktoberfest. Is there a reason you're not just going from event to event, maybe even the 1E9 lunchtime, trying to redeem those tokens? Like what would, I like the big vision of what you're trying to do, but why wouldn't you just start with smaller events and do that as the use case?
Actually, right question. The first Oktoberfest we start with is in Blumenau, Brazil, where they already have 600,000 cards out there, and they loved the pitch, and they said, okay, we want to on top build this on our card that already is out, and we want to use the currency because it's better than all the other things that we use so far, and we have inflation problems and all this other crazy stuff. So we have the first use case not on the home base Munich Oktoberfest, but in Brazil. And the next thing is, if we have this blueprint app, we can roll it out to the FIFA, to the Olympic Games, to all the big things that actually is really bringing people together, the sports, music, and festival things in the world, which actually you can apply this technology on any festival and go with your Wiesenpass to the next concert or festival. You can also apply it. And of course, we would love to do it next year over here.
Why are you looking at me? Last question? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Big applause to Hansi. Also, really big thank you to you guys. This was our last startup pitch. Please